What if I were to tell you doom scrolling can be productive and that social media doesn't have to rot our brains? There's lots of discourse on the internet, valid discourse about the problematic side of excessive social media use of these things that we call doom scrolling. And I'm not denying that that very much so exists. You know, even to this day, I am actively looking for ways constantly to minimize my screen time because it is embarrassingly high. But social media does have a magical side to it. You know, I feel like constantly every single day I'm being exposed to tips and ideas that can really help my life. I'm being shown people that have talents and skills that not only do I not have, but I'm never going to have. Such an abundant place for learning too at a pretty low cost. If you have access to the internet, there's nothing that you can't find out or discover or expand your mind on. But that positive side of things is only relevant if we're actually making changes in our life based on the things that we're consuming. And right now, we're consuming a lot. If our brains are a hard drive, we're at capacity. There's just too much to remember on our own. My argument for today's video is that using the save button, and more specifically a save framework that has 4 specific steps: save, assign, visit, and execute, which we will go through all 4 of those throughout today, that this framework can actually transform your scrolling into something more purposeful and, dare I say it, productive. I haven't done the research, but I'm gonna assume that if I were to do a study, that most of us are very comfortable using the like button when it comes to social media, especially on Instagram and TikTok. But you know, we've got the like button here on YouTube, which, hey, what are you doing? You want to go test out that button? That'd be nice. Just saying. I think it's something that we tend to do mindlessly. And yes, like there is a record of the things that we like. So theoretically, we can go back to this list of liked content, but all of it's accumulated in one running list, right? There's no organization to it. The save button though, which appears differently on different sites, but for the most part is marked by this banner looking thing here, has more organization potential because yes, you could just click this button and go along your merry way. But you can usually take it a step further where you can actually create folders to separate this content into. I'd say step 1 of the save framework is to start using the save button if you're not already. How do you know when to like something versus when to save? I mean, you can do both, but I think my instinct for saving something is if I truly think it's something that I want to return back to, that I think has value for me. So I think of things like a recipe that I come across, or a planner tip that I want to incorporate into my planner, a movie recommendation, a book recommendation, things that I think, oh, there's something here that's stirring in me, whether it's inspiration or a learning opportunity that makes me realize that, hey, this content has value beyond just being something I'm watching for 30 seconds. I think there's a lot of instinct involved here, so I don't want to over explain it. And also, I think it's one of those things too, where something that's deemed valuable for me might not be deemed valuable for you. We're all gonna have different takes on what pieces of content are worth saving based on our interests. Now, when you press that save button, you want to pause and take a moment to get specific with where you're saving it to. And this is where the assign component really comes into play. I'll give you a sneak peek at some of my TikTok ones. So I have like a business one where people who share business tips, it goes into there. I've got a folder for account inspo, tuning in, which is like stuff with mindset, to do with mindset. Books, my book folder is full of book recommendations. Food, because whenever I come across a recipe that I want to try, I want to make sure I'm easily able to find it. So I have a food category, but I also have a more specific one for sourdough because, as you guys know, I'm on a sourdough journey. Got a whole video where I showed myself making my first loaf, but like this is a really valuable area for me to go to. So that folder like gets visited all the time. A Toronto things to see and eat folder, DIYs, real estate tech, like they're pretty general folders. Home, social media tips, crochet, personal development, Xmas, places to travel. I actually think though, the more specific you get with your folders, your categorizations, the better. Like even my food category one, I've been thinking like I want to separate this into creating a meals component for folder, and then also have a desserts folder, have a snacks folder, just kind of like how I have a sourdough folder. But even my sourdough one, I think it could become like sourdough and also scoring tips, and then maybe even discard recipes. Like the more specific you can get, the better, because the key here is to make this content super easy for you to revisit. And the more specific it is, the faster that gap between you having a question and you getting an answer is. For example, if I wanted to save this video on how to make sourdough bread, I would press the little save button on my feed, immediately go to manage, and that's where I can sort it into that specific collection or create a new one. For now, it'll go to sourdough. This one recommends different podcasts, so I'm actually going to add this to a new collection because I don't have a podcast one. Podcasts to listen to. Save. Now, most of these folders have been the result of me just categorizing things that have just been naturally fed to me based on what the algorithm thinks I want to see. But I think the great opportunity with social media is that we can go beyond our algorithms, but you have to be intentional about it. And definitely get into algorithm ruts. At least I can feel that way. And that's when I think we need to interject a bit and start actually searching for things that we want to see more of so that the algorithm learns that this is what you want to learn more of. I think it pays a lot to be less passive on social media and find ways for it to actually feed the curiosities that you're currently having. Think to yourself, what are the areas that I'm actively trying to grow in right now? Maybe it's in creative routines or relationships, or maybe you want some small home hacks to make your home life more efficient. You can go to your search bar, look for this content, and then create folders that align with these goals that you have. And I think that really helps create a bridge between social media being something that's distracting you from your goals and social media then being something that can contribute to them. Now, it may seem pretty intuitive that this act of saving things for our future self to go revisit is something that we're naturally just going to revisit. But I have found, at least for myself, that that is sometimes not the case at all, that I can find myself even categorizing these things with really good intent to revisit them. They end up getting treated like just pieces of content that I like. In other words, I'm not going back to them. And like for me, that's missed opportunity there, because obviously there's something in those pieces of content that I feel like I at the moment want to do something about or use in my life, but I've just kind of let it sit there in an ever-growing land of potential. So although saving can feel like checking something off your to-do list, you're doing something for your future self, if you're not revisiting it, then this knowledge is becoming clutter. And these saved folders can fill up with so much content that even revisiting anything just feels really overwhelming. To make sure this critical visit step happens, I actually take 15 to 30 minutes every week to have a media review of where I go through. It doesn't have to be everything that I've consumed, because that's a lot too, but I pick maybe TikTok this week, maybe Instagram next week, maybe YouTube the next, and I go about actually looking through the things I've recently been watching. As I'm reviewing these most recent saved pieces of content, I'm asking myself, is there something to extract here? And this might be something very explicit that the content brings up itself, or something more implicit that the content is bringing out of me. And that brings us to the execute portion of the save framework, my favorite step personally, because this is where real clickage happens. Lately, I've really been gravitating towards my Notes app as a place for me to store information and organize it. And I talked a lot about the Notes app in my recent digital note-takings video. This app is so much more powerful than I ever remember it being. So if you are curious to learn more about that and other digital note-taking tools, highly recommend going to check out that most recent video I did. Again, I'm going to use TikTok as my example here, and a natural starting point for me is my food folder, because the food folder has a really easy to understand application process. Thankfully, the most recent ones I've saved are at the top. And I'm going to go through here and see if I want to use any of these recipes I'm seeing in my meal plan for the week. I feel like this creamy vanilla chia seed pudding would be a really great snack option. So how we're going to start this is, first, I'm going to create a new note in my Notes app called vanilla chia seed pudding. I'm actually going to copy this recipe, so you can just screenshot it and add the photo right here and look at that. The recipe's right there. On the iPhone though, you can copy and paste directly from a screenshot, so I think I'm just going to copy the ingredients, paste them as so. We'll turn this into a little checklist, and I'm going to delete this so that it looks a little cleaner. Now I can open my meal plan notes and schedule into Thursday my chia seed pudding recipe, and I can actually tag that note that I just made by doing like those arrow buttons, 2 of those arrows. Bada boom, and it's easily linked. So when I'm looking at my meal plan for the week, I can just quickly press it and it brings me to the recipe. Also a good opportunity to add any ingredients I need to my grocery list. Like I know for sure I need chia seeds, so let's add chia seeds here. And I can again link the recipe that this is for so that I remember why I'm getting those chia seeds. And to make sure this recipe log has good long-term value, I'm also going to add some tags at the bottom, which I love about notes, so that I can easily find all my healthy recipes whenever I want them. And I'll also be adding this to my recipes folder, so 2 different ways to rediscover it. And I'll go through and find any other recipes I want to try. Again, this is why I think like categorizing even by meals would make this easier for me. My books category, I did have, speaking of nonfiction, this person talk about Becoming Supernatural, which is a book on my TBR list I've wanted to read for many years. I'm just going to go to my media to consume section and write Becoming Supernatural, just to show you that not every like extraction needs to be this whole setup. You can really do this kind of extracting for every category, you know, not just food, books, and places to see, but DIYs, financial tips, life advice. Again, like one of the great things about doing this on notes is you can add tags to all of your notes. So even if you're extracting a piece of life advice, you can record a quote that someone said in a video, or record a quote and some of your thoughts that you had with it. Maybe that's a piece of advice for finding a job post-grad. You can write in the tags, hashtag post-grad, hashtag career, hashtag resume. And then when it comes to trying to find a job, all you have to do is go to your notes and look up hashtag resume or hashtag career, and you're gonna see all of the things that you've collected throughout your time on the internet in one spot, which I think is so cool and like has so much potential for lots of different projects that you have in your life or things of interest. This video was actually kind of inspired by this quote that I had come across on this Substack article, 9 projects I'm working on that make me forget I own a phone, by the account Finding Quiet. I will link the article down below. I have a folder called Today's Notes where I jot down ideas I'm having or articles that have made me think and write a quick summary so I make sure I fully digested the idea. I also write down my own interpretations and take things one step further, giving my own 2 cents, like I'm analyzing a piece of fiction. How does this information work in a wider context? How does this narrative fit into the current climate? What does this mean for this group of people, or how does this make me think differently about XYZ? Always lots to think about. This idea of a digital garden or building a second brain, which is a book that I talked about recently, also in the digital note-taking video, but I'm going to bring it up again here. It's such a good one about how to organize lots of information. If you're like really confused by where to get started, that's a really great book to check out. It will also be linked down below. I love like how this creator though expanded on the idea of like not just recording what you're consuming, but also interpretations or thoughts that you're having. Because although that's maybe not as relevant for something like food recipes or life hacks or an organization tip, there can be a lot of relevance there for videos that come across your feed of people like just talking about life, sharing a story, sharing an experience, sharing their art. Like all of these things can evoke things that are, or emotions that are really powerful. And maybe not everything needs to be recorded, but I think we know instinctually when something is striking us in a different way. And that potentially has something valuable there to make sure you document so that a future you can come across it. Maybe just for the joy of seeing where your headspace was at, but maybe because that helps you lead to a thought for your next project or is a solution to a problem that you're having. You completely forgot that you had even taken in this idea at one point in your life. Like it's so important to give ourselves the opportunity to rediscover the things that speak to us, because we can't control when that essential piece of information or inspiration hits us. You know, the inspiration might come 5 years too soon and you might need that 5 years from now. And by doing this, you can also get the added bonus of discovering a lot about yourself based on what things are striking a chord with you. I think that's always really interesting. Even just the act of me revisiting, not even executing or extracting information from the things that I've saved, like just kind of seeing what I've been consuming is really illuminating. So although building a second brain or a digital garden or a database, whatever you want to call it, doesn't necessarily change the problematic side of excessive consumption in terms of media, but it can help change your relationship with it. It's a pathway to transforming mindless doom scrolling into something active and something that has a positive impact on your life if you let it. And by no means does this save framework that I shared today have to be something you follow perfectly. Maybe you follow a system completely different that works for you. But I love this system for the fact that it helps me fight some of this digital clutter and fatigue that I feel. It brings creativity and learning into my life in a new tangible way, in a way that like I'm already scrolling, so why not transform this into something good? And it helps me use the best parts about the internet instead of feeling like I'm just a product being used. I want to know in the comment section down below, have you thought about how to turn your scrolling into something a little bit more productive? Have you thought about the blurring between online and offline world and how to find some of the better parts or opportunities that exist because of that, rather than all the negative ones, which I'm not saying that those things aren't conversations worth having too. But I wanted to use today's video to talk about all this from a different lens, a more optimistic one. And if you found something insightful in today's video, don't just like it, also save it and categorize it. Maybe as digital organization, that could be a good category for you to put me in. I'll see you guys soon with a new one. Until then, bye guys.
Now this is my remedy, let the seas sway with me, regaining my energy, let the seas sway with me, my remedy, let the seas sway with me.